And we are live. Hello, hello, Moon God. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How's it going, bud?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. I see Dan was first, Dave was second, Crash third, and Jason was fourth. Thank you guys for being here. What's up, Terry? And it looks like we just got a few people. Usually we have like a few people at first, and then about 15 minutes in is when we hit our stride. So just wait
Yeah.
for about 15 minutes to start giving really important stuff. Now
Well, I mean,
they can catch the replay.
I don't know if I can do all that. Like, we got to just jump into it and go, I feel like.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
yeah, so
Wise choice, money.
uh I was going to say mostly I think we can probably start with the bot and how it did through July and just kind of talk about a couple of things there.
Yep.
Um, you know, uh Yeah, let's just kind of jump into it. We'll go through a couple of explanations and some stuff that's going on with the bot and everything that's happening,
Mhm.
and the good, the bad, everything in between.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, so we'll start off with, I guess, what we can consider like the bad, so to speak. It's not going to be like what most people think. Effectively, though, our bot did a little bit over, I believe it was 2.3%, um, without accounting for any kind of compounding. With the compounding, it did 3.24%. So
Right.
without compounding, 2.34. With the compounding, 3.24. I'm getting my numbers mixed up in there. It's the same number basically.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
moving some stuff around. Dyslexia is real sometimes. It feels like that. Uh,
Why is
basically,
why is the number compounded bigger? Like the percentage?
well, the best way to take into consideration why one is bigger versus the other one is when you look at just the flat trades and what each trade did. That's how we determine the without the compounding. With the compounding, we look at the aggregate total. So,
Oh,
um,
okay. I got you.
each trade could do like I don't know, like 0.25% or something like that. But that 0.25% compounds every single week. So 0.25% each week is different than uh, basically having that on top of each other. So week one, it does 0.25%. Week two, it does 0.25%. But that 2.25% that it did is actually worth more from the start of week one to the end of week two. Does that make sense? I know it's a little
Yeah.
bit complicated to kind of word it like that, but basically the gist of it is because we're compounding and we're reinvesting everything that we're doing, that number is always going to be higher, and we'll see more of a gap as
Oh,
to
yeah,
it
yeah,
goes
yeah,
on.
yeah. I got you. Right.
Yeah,
Because if at first you're trading like, let's say, 10,000, then if you make a quarter of a percent on that, then uh, like the
the next
next
week.
week you're trading now with 10,000 plus a quarter of a percent.
Correct.
That would be
Exactly. And now, even if we only do another quarter of a percent there, for that week, technically, without considering compounding, we did a quarter of a percent. But in total, from the
okay.
first day to the last day, it would have ended up being like 0.28% or something like that. You know?
Right.
Um,
Right.
so that's
All right.
basically all that it is.
One other, one
Uh,
other, one other simple question here.
sure.
Where Calais wrote RayFi bought July performance plus 2.3%, and then he wrote ETH slash USDT July performance minus 5.96%. He means
Correct.
that ETH went down about 6% while our bot still made 2.3%.
That is accurate. Yeah. So
Okay.
effectively, we're looking at just about an 8 point swing here, is where we're kind of at. It's a little bit more than 8 points. It's like it's like 8.2 or something like that percent swing. So ETH is
Okay.
down just shy of about 6%. And it'll be a situation where when we're looking at ours, we were up about 2.34%. So when you're comparing the absolute negative on that side to our positive on this side, it's just shy of about an 8-point swing, which is
Cool.
huge. I mean,
Yeah.
that's absolutely massive. That's exactly what we'd want in a situation like this, anyways. Because the goal is to ensure that, in the down months, we're basically beating it every single month, is the goal here. In the months that it's up, we're trying to match or get as close to matching as we possibly can.
Okay.
And the reason for that is you're almost never going to beat the actual price movement itself. A great example of that is, earlier in the year when at one point in time, ETH was up like 15%, and we did like 11.7% or something like that.
Hmm.
And it was an instance where people were like, well, it would have been a lot better for us to just hold ETH or, something like that. And at that point, we basically were like, yeah, but, our goal is to try and get as close to that as we possibly can, as safely as we possibly can, you know, but, we're never going to beat out the market in holding just a token directly. But the positive is that we're not dealing with the downsides of just holding a token directly, which is exactly what we faced in the last few months here, is that ETH has just been down, 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 down for like the last 3 months, and we're up, 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 up. So it's just generally one of those things where it kind of balances itself out in the long run.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the goal
What?
behind it.
So we won't beat. I know this conversation is starting a little simple, but you said we won't beat just holding like a coin long term. Was that
Uh,
something that?
so not necessarily. So the best way to think about it is we are looking for a more um I'm going to say linear growth pattern. And what I mean by that is we're going to have some months where we're going to be up quite a bit and some months where we're still going to be up, but it's just going to be a much smaller amount. Whereas like ETH, you're going to have a month where you could be up 15% and the bot does 11%, but then you'll have a month like this where ETH is down almost 6% and we're still up 2.25.
Right.
So, or two and a third. And so that's kind of the difference there, is that in the months where ETH is just absolutely just burning daylight and just flying up and to the right, which is phenomenal, we're probably never going to keep up with that unless we get really, really lucky. But in the
Right.
months where it's the opposite direction, and it's like just everybody is, just bailing out on ETH or bailing out on Bitcoin or whatever it ends up being, it'll be a situation where we're still making money there. So ours is going to be a much more linear progression versus the volatile ups and downs that you'd see within the market. So it's a bit more balanced.
I gotcha. And what were you gonna tell us about the
Oh
bot
yeah. So
bot?
that's effectively like the, I guess, the what we consider like the big quote unquote negative that most people worry about. They're looking at it and they're like, God, how are we only doing like 2%? So I wanted to kind of put it in perspective to people and just be like, yes, it is 2.33% basically. So 2.34%. And somebody might be like, well, we were talking about doing like 10% month over month or 7% month over month or 15% or 12%, or what's going on with this? Like we're not getting anywhere close to that. And it's like, I just wanted to remind people that one, this is an aggregated long-term situation. So it's a case where as time goes on, we're effectively going to beat the ups and downs in the market because we're just being consistent throughout the entire process, compounding throughout the entire process as well too. So we don't have to necessarily worry so much about the ups and downs. We just have to ensure that the bot is being as safe as possible during extremely volatile moments like this. Now, what that does mean though is that in a situation like what happened in the month of July and what happened at the beginning of August here, we are very protected. And this is the positives with the situation that we're in. So somebody is going to look at that 2.34% and be like, that sucks. How could you guys only do that? And it's like, yeah, we've also had some other great months as well too. Currently, we're swinging right at about 7% month over month, which is a little bit lower than what we'd like. But we've also had 3 months where basically the market is just absolutely, pardon my language, but shit the bed, you know?
It's a lot of
Um,
manipulation. A lot.
yeah, a lot of nonsense going on is the best way that I can kind of word that.
Yeah.
The Ethereum ETF really hasn't had as much traction because the market, like the global market and the global economy, has had quite a bit of problems. I mean, the yen at the end of last week basically just got fried. It was a situation as well too where there's a lot of fears with what's going on politically between like Israel and Iran and stuff that's happening there.
Mm.
We had some of the pullback on the 10-year bonds in the United States here. There's a lot of volatility going on just in general throughout July, and then now it's even leading into August as well too. So it's just there's a lot happening right now. And so what we decided was the best course of action is to be as safe as we possibly could. So we've got basically no leverage going on right now, if any at all. I believe, we're keeping it in like the 3x to 5x range, like absolutely nothing here. We're
Yeah.
keeping a massive chunk set aside to ensure that we never face any kind of like liquidation crisis or anything like that. And we're
Mm.
just trying to, play it safe, take what little profits we can here and there, and just kind of, you know, ease through it. And that's really the best thing that we can do at this point in time. We're not shooting for any kind of crazy month or anything like that where we can be super aggressive with up and down volatility. And us preparing and being safe about that allowed us to just absolutely just eat right through the market crash where we saw in like one day Ethereum went from like 3,200 to 2,160, which was
Yeah.
disgusting. And it was a situation where I think we saw, I believe it was like 1.2 billion in assets get liquidated. With I think it was something like 400 or 700,000 traders got liquidted, some crazy amount like that. And
Wow.
it's just that's a position we didn't want to put ourselves into. But
Yeah.
yeah, that we planned for this as crazy as it is to say that months ago, and it's paying off, dividends now, where we're being safe, we're being very very secure, and it's a situation where, yes, we kind of had to eat the heat for a little bit there and be like, hey, we've had to kind of dial it back. We wanted to be safe and secure. We wanted to make sure that we're not going to risk anything, by trying to be so aggressive here. We started to
Yeah.
kind of, loosen up on the reins just a little bit. And right as we kind of do that, the market was like, nah, we're going to see 24% one day. It's just going to cliff.
Yeah.
Uh, and like I said, the preparations that we made a couple of months back, the adjustments that we made a couple of months back, and even us loosening, because I don't know if anybody remembers this, but last Tuesday, or maybe it was the Tuesday before that, we talked about kind of loosening those reins a little bit, as we thought things would be a little more bullish going into the Ethereum ETF news, and we thought things were going to be a little more positive there. So we were like, "Yep, let's be just a tad bit more aggressive. Like let's open it up like 5% here, more aggression, in the market." And we're glad that's all we decided to do. And
Yeah.
and that's part of the key pointers behind what we promised at the beginning is, yes, we want to hit those numbers. We absolutely would love to be hitting those numbers. But what's way more important than hitting, some numbers is making sure that the money is always safe. And that's basically what we did here. Is we said, yep, we're going to eat it. We're going to take the heat for a few months here, and we're just going to say, yeah, we're never going to be liquidated. And that's pretty much, what we saw happen to everybody else in the market is a lot of people got wiped out. Um,
Yeah.
and we weren't, again, one of those people that had that happen. So I just want to be clear that this is two instances, and this one didn't require any hedging or anything on our part in any way, shape, or form.
That's
This
cool.
was a case where our bot is still 100% on longs right now. We have no shorts open at this point. I kind
Is
of
it?
wish we did, just so we could close some of those out and take a little chunk of profit. But
Yeah.
we're not, wanting to be in any kind of like short positions here. We think this is a temporary pullback. We think it's going to probably stay in about this range, maybe through the week. It'll probably stay within about the 24 to 26, 2,700 range, and then it may start to kind of creep back up, past that towards the end of the week and into next week, assuming we don't have any major negative news come out, and some other country decides that it's going to liquidate all of its crypto assets, like we saw Germany and the US do this past
Right.
week. So that
Yeah.
that was a very fun situation for us to be in as well.
Yeah.
But
That was
yeah,
interesting.
that's kind of the bot news here. I guess, like I said, the good and the bad, and the bad really isn't that bad on a scale of bad. One being like, meh, not bad at all. 10 being super, super bad. I would say this is like a one, kind of situation where it's like, the numbers are lower than what we'd like, but we did that because we wanted to be safe. So
Right.
not
And
really.
how automated is the bot, or how hands on do you guys still have to be with it?
This we weren't hands on at all for this.
Okay.
We were tracking and monitoring it just to make sure, but um, we never faced any kind of like liquidation price or anything like that.
So
There were
what is it that you guys change about the bot, like when you feel the need to change something about it?
Usually it's how much leverage we're willing to use. And that's really the big thing is we'll adjust the amount of leverage that the bot is allowed to use on its own, and the amount of funds that are allowed to be used within any given trade. So, as an example, back when we had a lot more volatility and up and downs in the markets, in like the January, February, March range, and even further into like April to a certain extent, the bot had much more free range into how much leverage it wanted to use and how much of each given asset it could use up to a certain amount. We really tightened that back and said like, no, you're not allowed to use anything over like 3x to 5x leverage kind of thing. So
Yeah.
basically, if you have $100, the 3x is like worth 300. So that's pretty much the gist of what happened there.
Okay.
Yep.
And what, like with because you guys have some money to back up these trades, because most people, I don't know most people, but I've seen like the little that I know about trading with leverage and whatnot is if you have a nice amount of money to back it up, then you can have better liquidation levels or liquidation prices. So
Correct.
like
Yeah.
with like 100,000 to back it up, or 120,000, however much to back it up, like uh, what's like if you guys were using like 10x leverage, like what would like a liquidation level be? Would it be like a 15% change, or would it be like,
It
how would that work?
depends. It depends on how large the positions are. So, like,
Yeah.
so as an example of such, if you were using $1,000 and you had 10x leverage, basically you add a zero on the end, that's $10,000. With
Right.
$120,000 in, you know, um,
Money to back
a
it up.
collateral.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the term.
Right.
You basically wouldn't face like any kind of liquidation at all. So it's just it depends on how much you're using versus how much collateral you have set aside to kind of protect yourself on the downside. So in instances like ours, where we're opening up multiple positions, we have to be very, very careful with the amount of leverage you're using versus the amount of dollars that we're using. Now, the positive with any given situation that we're in is if we're using no leverage, we can crank up the amount of dollars that we're actually using to kind of offset that a little bit. So we could use like no leverage and use like $3,000 a trade. And, we're not going to get nearly as much returns because leverage is basically the big way to get fast returns with small movements. So we'll take a much, much smaller return, but we're much safer. We don't face any kind of liquidation at that point. I will say this, we did look at some options regarding, opening up some long positions kind of towards like the lower 2000s, like the 2180, 2200, right around there. And the trouble that we had is that the amount of leverage that we needed to use in order to open those positions, or the size that we would have needed to have to offset the positions that are basically back up in our range,
Mhm.
um, it would have probably forced around a $1,400, $1,500 liquidation price. And we were just like, yeah, that's not going to be a thing. So we adjusted, and just basically kind of like, deleveraged out as much as we could, and haven't taken any losses, haven't had a losing trade or anything like that. Um, we just basically, like I said, we just leveraged down everything to like basically either no leverage or like very minimal leverage at best.
So even like putting in like $1,000 trades with 10x leverage, even that would be like too big of a risk for like what's happening lately.
Correct. Yeah. So
Yeah.
think about it like this. If you opened up a $1,000 position at 3,500 with 10x leverage, you very much so could have faced liquidation depending on how much assets you have set aside for collateral. Now, mind
Yeah.
you, we have multiple trades open as well too, which is part of the reason why we have to be as careful as we are. So it's not
Okay.
just a situation where it's like, oh, we're talking about one trade. No, we're talking about like 6 trades or like 7 trades could be open at a time. So that's the reason why we've dialed this back. So as an example of such, like if we look at the month of July, we had 54 trades done and opened and closed in the month of July.
Right.
So that lets you kind of know, like, we had almost 2 trades open a day that then
Yeah.
closed within the
Yeah.
month. So it's very much so a case where it's not like, we're doing just like, oh, one trade, wait for it to close. No, the way that our bot is working right now is it has roughly a range of about 3,000 to 4,000 that it's generally supposed to be working in and opening new positions. Um, and so it has certain amounts where it's like, oh, it hits 3,100. I'm going to open up a position here. It hits 3,175. I'm going to open up another position here. It hits 3050. Open up another position, stuff like that. So it can
Right.
have multiple trades running at the same time. And that's basically what happened at the end here, is that as the early August crash happened, where Ethereum just dropped 24%, it basically opened up a massive chunk of positions right in about that 32 to 3,000 range. And just
Okay.
then once it moved outside of that range, it basically said, okay, we're using everything else to protect our positions because we know it's going to get back up there. We just want to make sure we're not going to face any kind of liquidation. And like I said, the only thing that we kind of considered doing was in like the 2180 to 2200 range, and we were like, hey, do we want to manually open up some longs here? And just kind of did some math on it really quick, and it just was something where it was way above and beyond what we were okay with risk profile wise.
Yeah.
And then again, that would also be like us trading versus like the bot protecting itself in a position. So that would have just created a lot of extra risk that we didn't want to have happen. So yeah, we looked at it and we were basically like, nah, no thanks, and just kind of
So
decided
you
to
guys,
just
so
not do anything.
yeah, and you guys are going to wait for things to really chill out before you think about increasing the leverage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So in a market where things are kind of going both up and down, we can definitely crank the leverage up again. But in a situation like this where there's so much just, and it's not even just turmoil within crypto, it's just turmoil in general. Um and I know it sounds weird to talk politics, or to some extent, but with everything that's happening with a multitude of different countries, Japan with the yen, China
Yeah.
with its housing market having the issues that it's having, the United States coming up on its election, the UK having some issues and some turmoil with some riots that are going on there as well too. The war between Israel, Palestine, and then Israel and Iran, things like that are just kind of continuing to escalate. It's just a situation where doing anything like bumping up that leverage is just way too risky.
I
Um,
got you.
and so, yeah, that's kind of why we decided to sit with where we're at, and why we just decided to, hey, be careful, not go crazy with it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I mean, you guys have a stellar record, so I mean, I know everybody is behind you on that. So,
Yeah.
um, I think I've asked all my questions. Hopefully, that answered some questions for people in the audience too. But what other things did you have? I know that you had mentioned that there were questions from the community that you wanted to answer. Can you?
Yeah, so just some general questions that were kind of brought up like throughout the week, what's going on, things like that. I didn't really write anything down because I'm a terrible person and had like 1,000 things happening all at
I didn't.
once.
I didn't either. So
Um, but yeah, just to kind of answer a few things. First and foremost, we did pull about $5,000 from the Ray side of the bot, not the NFT side, just the Ray side. Um, and we moved that into some LP farming that's actually doing pretty well right now. We're very happy with kind of where it's at,
cool.
and just letting it do its thing at the moment. Um, so far, we kind of had had to do a couple of reallocations and adjust a couple of things, but so far in the month, we're just at about 1%. I believe it's a little bit higher than that. So we're very happy with where we're at so far.
Just 6 days
Uh,
into the month.
no, actually, we didn't balance it, or we didn't start putting things in until Friday. So unfortunately, we had a couple of things come up. We had to wait for Bybit to move some stuff over. And so we didn't actually get into the LP farming until like Friday evening. So
So since Friday, it's made 1%.
just shy. Yeah. Just shy.
Damn, it's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, going pretty good. Part of the reason for that is just the crazy volatility we've had in the market as well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
interesting.
it's pretty much so been a case where um, we've gotten a little bit lucky. We've had to kind of, rebalance one time, but basically the way that concentrated V3 liquidity works is that you can set up various levels of, I guess what you call just like basically LP NFTs. And the process that we kind of have is we have some overlapping NFTs. So this is basically the way most position managers on chain work, is they'll have those overlapping NFTs. Um, and again, I'm going to call them NFTs because it's easier than calling them LP NFTs. Um,
Mhm.
but basically, they have overlapping liquidity where it'll say, okay, from this range to this range, this is where we want to be. From this range to this range, this is where we want to be. So, as an example, you could have one where it's like 2,500 to 3,200 on ETH. And then you could have another one that's 3,000 to 3,600 or 3,700 on ETH, and so on and so forth. And the way that it works is as it moves from within one range to being more within another range, you can adjust your liquidity so it kind of matches up and lines up with the next one. And that's basically what we're kind of doing on our side to keep it within a range that we're happy with. So we're effectively farming both um, ETH and BNB at this point in time. And yeah, we're just shy of about 1% at this point. So pretty happy with
I don't,
that.
is that like an active trading thing, or is it like, is that automated at all? I have
Uh,
no idea
we're
how that
working
works.
on we're working on some processes to allow us to kind of automate that, but really those are kind of unfriendly at this point in time, because a lot of the issues that come into play are it'll just rebalance whenever it generally wants, or if it thinks it's too far out of range. And so what we're trying to do is we're working on basically creating a better system for doing this, a more automated system. There are some protocols that are out there that kind of already do this, like Gamma is a big one. But the issue that we kind of run into is those are generally controlled by somebody else, and we don't like that. So
Mhm.
um, we are looking at some options regarding like creating our own position managers and things like that.
Right.
This will coincide with what we're doing on our decks as well. So we're very, very happy to kind of like be exploring down that route. But it's very much so a situation where there's other things that kind of have to come into play first. So right now
Yeah.
we're doing it manually and we've just got a structure set up for it. So it just works. But
Does it take a lot of time for you guys?
Uh, yeah, sometimes when there's a lot of volatility going on, because effectively we can't deposit like one side of a pool. So we can't say, okay, I want to deposit like 2000 USDT into this specific range. We have to balance it ourselves first. So it could be like $843 USDT and then the rest in ETH, of like $2,000. And then
Right.
we deposit it in there. And the problem that we were running into is because everything is done through like our multi-sig, we have we have to sign transactions within like seconds of like putting them in, or the volatility within the
Oh,
market was moving ETH too much for us to be able to place trades. So
oh
yeah,
my.
it was just wild while the market was crashing trying to get these set up and get things adjusted. So it was not the most pleasant experience, but it wasn't too bad. So
Well, as long as you guys don't mind doing it, I guess.
yeah,
More power
well, I
to
mean, the
you.
positive is once it's kind of set up, it's not hard. So like I said, the thing that we have that kind of goes our direction is like once we set up those ranges that we want to kind of be in, and once they're overlapped, we can just move out of one um LP NFT and move into the next one. So like it's really easy. You just go in, you withdraw, and then you just rebalance and then put it into the next one. As simple as that. So yeah, it really kind of is something that we've created a process that's a little bit easier. We're going to have to go through some refining. And like I said, we are working on, seeing if we can like fork or copy a position manager style thing and kind of make it our own and allow us to do kind of some of these allocations on our own. Um, we're also considering just using a different protocol for that, just to kind of make it
Yeah.
easier on ourselves. But yeah,
Yeah.
um, it's all part of the process.
Yeah.
Um, it's part of the process I love. The only thing that I'm not a huge fan is the multi-sig because it just takes so long. Like
Yeah.
if I could just do it from a wallet that I control myself, it'd be like instantaneous, no problem whatsoever. But that's not safe and secure. And we don't want anybody thinking that like I could just run off with a wallet and yeah, that's not what we want to have happen. So, you
Yeah.
know,
With our multi-sig, we have to bother Cyril anytime we want to do something with it because
yep,
Cyril is the fourth person because there needs to be three people that sign, and it's me, Lucky, Yanni, and Cyril. And for some reason, because of Trust Wallet, I can't sign anymore. So now it's just Cyril that has to sign off on stuff. So I'm sure he loves having that job.
yep, absolutely. So much fun. By the way, you can fix that just for the record. You just need to access it through a different point.
Yeah.
So
I
if
would
if
probably
you
need to get MetaMask, but I
well, you
don't
don't
know.
have to get MetaMask. You can just open it up on like your browser and then use Wallet Connect on the browser and your phone, and then connect it through like that.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
and then you can sign stuff through your Trust Wallet, or you may
So
just
like
need to
through
update.
another device, you mean?
Yeah, so like on your computer that you're using right now, if you go to your multi-sig, there's usually an option to connect your wallet up in the like say you're using Safe. Up in the top right hand corner, you can just click connect and then go to wallet connect. And
Yeah.
then you just scan the little QR code with your wallet that's on the multi sig. And boom, easy peasy. You can sign stuff again. It'll fix it.
Yeah. Barry has an idea for a token.
Yeah, no, I'm not touching anything political token wise or anything like that. But if you want to go that route, good luck, bud. You
You
know,
know, Trump token had a little spike, but
I
it
mean,
literally took him being almost assassinated for it to spike. And now
yeah,
it's kind of just treading sideways.
yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that's called a honeypot token, where it's just you throw your money into it and you never see it again. The added benefit to the token you're talking about is you get called a racist as well. So
Yeah.
fun times there. But
A lot of tokens don't even call you racist.
absolutely. I would love for something on chain to be set up for a token like that, where it would just be like it sends you an on chain message that just says you're racist every single time you buy or sell the token. That would be hilarious. But no, back to kind of like
so
like the ecosystem stuff. Our DApp
yeah,
should be out tomorrow. Is the goal.
cool. Awesome.
We got a couple of final things to test just to make sure everything's going well. I will say this really quick. There very likely will be some connection issues with Wallet Connect on mobile devices. We unfortunately had a situation where implementing the new version of Wallet Connect didn't like our DApp, so we're having to go back through and kind of rebuild that. So it'll be a situation where we're pretty much gonna need to have you guys to go through like a browser or desktop, just for a very short time being. We're working on fixing that. Sanjay is on it, but just wanted to give everybody the heads up. If you can't connect, we're aware of that. We're working on it. So connect from your desktop.
And I'm gonna say the DApp is where you will go to pick where you want to have everything staked and whatnot. You went over that in Greek's AMA that you did with him. I wish I could. I wish I could put video up so you could show it here too, but
no, you're good. Basically, it's a situation where the DApp should be available for everyone tomorrow. We got to finish a couple of like mainnet tests and everything like that before we make it public. And then from there, it'll be a case where people can go in and start to stake and stuff like that. Like I said, we are working on the update on the Wallet Connect side of things. It will let most connect. It is giving us some trouble with mobile stuff. Barry, I love you to death, bud, but let's keep the politics out. Appreciate it, but let's not. And how much money from the token taxes have been collected so far? I think it's 148,000 RayFi tokens have been collected that are just sitting in our fee receiver wallet. We haven't touched them or done anything with them yet. We're not looking to at this point in time. If we do end up going that route, we will, because we'll need to, liquidate some of those to be able to grab some USDT and stuff like that. But as of this point in time, that's just not something that we're looking to do. So yeah, we're just kind of holding them in that wallet for now. We have had a couple of people come in and ask as well too, what's that wallet that's holding like 10%? That would actually be the initiative wallet that will eventually very likely turn into our emission wallet when we go to launch our DEX. So either those will be moved out of the initiative wallet into an emission contract, or we'll just do it right out of the wallet. I'm not sure. We haven't decided there. So that's pretty much that situation there. And one of the other questions. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and the price of RayFi is super cheap right now. If anybody wanted to get some.
Yes, it is 0.017.
Yeah.
So on sale.
Discount.
On sale now.
And if you buy $25 worth of RayFi, it's an entry into our buy competition right now where you can win one of 3 prizes. The first prize is 5,004 tokens. Second prize is 3,004 tokens, and third prize is 2,004 tokens. So just a $25. I want to ask
really quick regarding that. Does it count every $25, or if you do like a $300 or $500, does that only count as one ticket? So like,
it's every $25. So if you buy $100, that is 4 entries.
Oh, see, that's good to know. So anybody that's buying, you don't have to worry about, I just bought 200, one token, or $200 worth of one tokens, or $200 worth of RayFi, or whatever it is. I only get one entry. No, you get multiple. So.
Yes. Yep. Right now, Marty has a ton of entries because he bought a whole bunch of 4 token the other day.
Hey, let's go for it.
Yeah, so it's his to lose right now. But you buy 1, 3, 4, or RayFi, and every $25 buy of any of those 4 tokens gets you an entry. So, I think it's going for a couple more days, 2 or 3 more days. I'm not sure exactly.
That sounds
But
right. Yeah. And
yeah,
let's see. So Chappie, vaults ready for staking. Yes, the vaults are ready for staking. We
sweet.
have a couple of final little mainnet test things to do. And it'll be ready probably tomorrow morning Eastern Standard Time. So roughly, assuming that nothing goes sideways, it should be fully up on mainnet in the morning Eastern Standard Time. We're doing a couple little final tests there with some test wallets that we've created on our side for the love of all things holy. If you happen to find our app, our DApp, do not connect to it until we tell you it's okay and everything is fine. You will deposit tokens into vaults that don't exist, and it will be a problem. Don't do it. So just wait. Uh, we'll tell you when everything is live and good to go. But it's a situation where we don't want anyone losing their tokens in some weird way connecting to like a testnet apparatus. So please don't do that.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah,
Let's see.
that's pretty much it. So vaults are ready. We're going to be testing a couple of things in the morning, and then as soon as those are finalized, everything will be good to go.
Cool.
Probably by Eastern Standard Time afternoon, and you guys can start staking. Easy peasy.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm sure you'll be making an announcement.
Absolutely, we will.
Chappie is saying, I'm not sure what he's saying here. Ray 5 Vault rewards purchased from the LP. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, he's just wanting to know where we're getting the RayFi rewards. Like, are we getting them from the fee wallet? Are we getting them from the initiative? Or like, where are they coming from? So it is correct. We are effectively buying them back from the liquidity pool. So you guys staking in the auto reinvest vault, it literally is like doing buybacks every single month, going straight to you guys versus standard process, which is usually buybacks happen and it goes to like the treasury wallet or something like that. We know obviously with other projects like one, those buybacks go into very specific thing where eventually they get burned. So yeah, very similar process on our side, where the reward payouts are going to go directly into buying the RayFi from the LP and then depositing that into people's wallets. So it's going to work as a buyback basically every single month. Same thing will happen with Four Token. Same thing will happen with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB. So it's going to buy that right from their LPs. So you're getting tokens that are paid for. It's not going to be what I like to call phantom tokens, where it's just like, oh yeah, we're just trading stuff from our treasury wallet to you guys. Thumbs
Yeah.
up, everybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen.
Everything is paid for.
Yep, everything is paid for. That is our number one rule here. Nobody gets anything for free. With the exception of some instances that I regret later on down the road. But we won't talk about that. One thing I did want to that ties into that question very, very well, that people were curious about. We have blacklisted the initiative wallet. We have blacklisted the LP as well. That is built into our contract, so those will not receive payouts. So as of right now, we have 1,074,000 and some change of RayFi that are in the initiative wallet. Those will not receive a payout. And then we have a little over 1 million tokens. I think it's 1,010,000. It's 1,012,000 are in the liquidity pool. Those will also not receive payouts. So what that means is that we almost have 2.1 million tokens, give or take just a little bit here, that will not be accounted for within the math. So a lot of people were like, oh, I want to have like a 1% allocation because I'm going to get 1% of the reward payout. That's actually not the case. You're actually looking at, oh, I hold 100,000 tokens versus all of the tokens held in wallets, which at this point in time, it's like 7.9 million. So yeah,
Mhm.
you've got a much better allocation than what people are actually expecting at this point. So just wanted to
Yep.
bring that up really quick. Those are both blacklisted. So any tokens in the LP and any tokens in the initiative wallet are not receiving payouts. If in some weird circumstance they do, we will fix it. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of what we're looking to do is we
Cool.
want payouts to go to the holders. We don't want them to go into positions that we wouldn't be happy with. So
Right.
yep.
Very cool. All right. So Terry says, will we have to claim our rewards or will it be auto airdropped to our wallet?
So everything on OPBNB will be automatically airdropped into your wallet. BSC, this is going to be a trial situation here where it's going to be airdropped into your wallet. We're going to test that out, see how that works. If everything works swimmingly, it will be airdropped going forward. Same thing for 1 and 3 vaults, assuming we have no issues. So yeah, the goal is to airdrop everything.
Right on.
If it doesn't work, and the only side that we're worried about it not working on is the BSC side of things. So that would be 4 token. If it doesn't
Mhm.
work, we will have a claim function for you guys. You will not lose your tokens. They will still be there.
Cool.
Same thing would end up happening with like 1 and 3. So if it ends up being a situation where the airdrop doesn't work for whatever reason, it'll just be claim on the website. As simple as that. And if you don't claim, it would just be a case where they would just sit out there basically in the ether waiting for you to claim. And
It
I
would
would
add up.
if you're putting into the 4 vault, you're going to want to claim. If the airdrop doesn't work, and the logic and the reasoning behind that is, um, you don't want to miss out on your BNB rewards. So yeah,
Right. Right. Right.
you won't get those while they're in our vault. So
Right.
yes, just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But again, we'll let you guys know if that becomes an issue, but we don't think it will be. We believe we've got everything figured out with the airdrop process. So that
Cool.
is the route that we're going to go first. If we have to go the other direction with the manual side of it, we will. But we believe we've got everything good to go.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
so cool.
yeah.
Be
So
so cool.
that is our goal. So
Awesome. Awesome. All
yeah.
right. Barry has a question. Will you have a staking raffle? Every blank staked gets you a chance at a prize. Barry, I talked about this with our team because we like to do, buy competitions. And so, yeah, I have talked with Lucky and Yanni about like staking competitions where, based on, a certain number that you stake gets you an entry into the competition or something like that. So, yeah, I've talked about it with my team. I don't know if Moon God, if you guys have thought about that.
So we haven't really gone over that as of this point in time. But some of the things that we are looking at doing is we are looking at adding further data and information, to our DApp when it comes out to allow us to kind of easily be able to present that information going forward. And so there might be some situations where we end up using that data to allow you guys to be able to kind of do some fun stuff and maybe do some additional staking rewards and things like that where we can say, hey, everyone who stakes in the Bitcoin vault gets an extra 100 RayFi or something like that as well. I don't know. I'm just
That's
throwing.
true. Will there be a way for us to see who's staked what?
uh Straight out the gate, no.
Okay.
Yes, long term, we're adding a lot more aggregate information and things like that, but we really
Okay.
wanted to get this out as quickly as we possibly could to help people be able to get into the vaults. And then from there, we can add some more back end data and information, breakdowns, things like that, portfolio analysis, all that fun stuff. But really, the most important thing for us is we wanted to be early enough into August so that we can help anyone getting into the vaults and have plenty of time where we're not kind of trying to rush this at the end of August with a payout at the beginning of September. So that's really our
Right.
goal. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. But
Well,
yes, eventually stuff like that will come. I don't
cool.
know when it will be though. I'm not going to say no. It sounds like fun, but nothing straight out the gate. Just as like to go back and answer the question.
Yeah. Okay. Legends R Us is asking, where can I learn about Ray decks and what benefits will this bring to a Ray token?
Yeah, so currently RaySwap is slated to come out Q4 is our goal. That probably will change. Mind you, we're not doing a lot of craziness with it. It is pretty much going to be a direct fork of Uniswap. We're hoping that they launch V4 so we can just borrow that, rebrand it and push it out the door. Basically, the idea behind the entire process here is we're going to have very, very low fees. Those fees are going to be broken up into three directions. One, costs for the team and the ecosystem. Two, it's going to go to buying back the RayFi token and depositing that into the emission wallet. So that'll work as a collective buyback. Three, percentage is going to go to RayFi holders as well in terms of payouts every single month. So that is going to be kind of our fee breakdown. What we're looking at right now in terms of fee is actually lower than anyone else that's out there. It's 0.06%. So it's a very, very good fee is what I would call it. It's a very, very positive situation because we want more of the liquidity fees to end up going towards the liquidity providers. We don't want to be taking a huge chunk out of their stuff. So with all of that being said, we're looking at pretty much an even breakdown there of 0.02, 0.02, 0.02 to those following three things. And it'll be a situation where we'll kind of adjust based off that. But effectively, the way it'll work is if you go in and you provide liquidity for, say, Bitcoin USDT, right? And then you stake your liquidity pool token, within our staking farm or whatever we're ending up calling it, you would get paid out in RayFi tokens that are pulled from that emission contract that we talked about earlier, that initiative wallet that's going to turn into the emission contract. So that 1 million tokens that are in there are going to move into the emission contract, and LP stakers on RaySwap will get a certain amount of RayFi tokens distributed out to all of the LP stakers at a certain percentage every single day. And then from there, it'll be a case where you guys will get your RayFi. You'll just come in the same way that like PancakeSwap, you go in and you just claim your cake tokens. You'll do the same thing. You'll just go to the RaySwap farms. You'll claim your RayFi. And from there, to be a case where it just pops right into your wallet. And then you're immediately getting payouts as well, too. The positive with all of that on top of it is you're getting an emission token in the form of RayFi, which has already got its own solidified base. So pretty much you're just in a situation where there's a lot of extra benefits that are coming your direction just by having a token that has this value built into it just as a baseline. So
right.
Yeah. It basically is our way of being able to provide a very, very positive, very, very limited token out to holders. Because the biggest issue a lot of other swaps and a lot of other dexes face is that their reward or their emission token just gets inflated into nothingness, and it ends up going from like, oh, I bought this token at $3 and now it's worth like 0.0004. So yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, you got Cyril is saying usually DEX fees are 0.35%, and you guys are saying 0.06%. So that is much lower. You guys could bump that up a little bit. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the reason why we wanted to have it as low as we did is because this is effectively the fee that's taken as part of the process here. So like as an example, if someone sets up like a 0.01% or something like that as the fee on their DEX, or 0.05 or 0.10 or 0.25, you've got our 0.06 on top of that. So it's kind of the process. That's basically the reason why. So not a huge deal, not a crazy thing. We're trying to incentivize people to want to use this.
Right.
Maybe it's a situation where something like that changes down the road. I doubt it will. But it's a case where we want to have people want to come to OPBNB and use our DEX. So we're fine with having minimalistic costs there. One of our thoughts on that process would be like, if memory serves, PancakeSwap does like $1 billion in volume every single day. We're not looking to do $1 billion in volume every single day one. But if we can do, $10 million in volume, that's crazy. So, yeah.
10 mil. I mean, we did the math one time on it. We were messing around with it to try
Yep.
and figure out what 10 million would do with 0.06%. But
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
bad.
So
It's
it's
not bad. It's
it,
a
it's
nice lump sum.
it's a situation like that where we're willing to accept those kind of smaller amounts there, because we want more fees to go to the liquidity providers. We
Right.
we don't want to eat up all of the fees. We want those that are providing to get the big chunk of fees. That is our goal. So yeah.
Right. So Sky Dreams is just wanting to do a little math here. I'm not. Do you
I think
guys
it's
have the breakdown of how it's going to be just yet? Is it like
so
40,
for
40,
for Ray
20?
Swap, no. I
Well, I
think that's
mean,
what he's asking about here, and we.
I think he's just talking about RayFi token.
So how do I do the math to calculate what I could possibly expect? Say the pool made 1K for that month, and I have 2%. What's my profit?
Oh, maybe it was. Maybe it was.
Yeah. So with our current breakdown right now, let's assume that you have 2% of the pool. The pool makes 1K. So you in theory would be getting 2% of that 1K is where the fees would go minus our 0.06%. So yeah. So the 1K minus the 0.06, and then you get 2% of whatever's left. So yeah, assuming that's what you're asking for. Again, the numbers that I'm kind of giving out right now, they're still very much so trial and error, so they very much so could change. That is kind of our goal in the process here, is to keep the fees as low as possible. But assuming that's what you're talking about, and I'm understanding that correctly, that would be the way that would work. Is so we would take our and again, assuming that that's what you're talking about, is the 1K fee includes both what Ray Swap would take itself and what you're providing, that would be the way that would balance out. So yeah. And then you would still also, if you've staked your LP tokens, you would also get whatever percentage of RayFi is allocated to you in that aspect as well. So it's not just the fees within the pool. You'd be able to stake your LP as well and get even more on top of that. So hopefully that kind of helps with answering that question. If we need to talk about it more, we can absolutely do so. Or if you've got follow up, or if I didn't answer exactly kind of what you were asking, let me know, and we can kind of deep dive that a little bit further. I know there's a limitation to how many characters you can kind of use when you're asking a question on YouTube. I think it's like 180 or something. So yeah, if we need to talk in Discord, we can absolutely do so. That's no problem.
I remember Legends R Us. Legends R Us was asking, I think, if you guys were thinking of doing weekly payouts instead of. I'm sorry, I'm bouncing around here a little bit, but I'm just thinking. I was in your Discord, and I remembered him asking that at one point. If you guys were thinking of doing weekly payouts instead of monthly.
Yeah. So as of right now, the answer to that is just going to be a hard no. And that's as for right now. And the reason for that is we want to get to a point where we ensure that everything that we're looking to do is set up and running smoothly prior to making any overhauls or changes or trying to like push stuff out quicker than we can. We unfortunately we have a very limited amount of man hours and and people on the project. I would love to have like 20 people working on this all at once, but we don't have the money to do that. We don't have the people to do that. So we have to kind of like make some sacrifices where we do in certain areas, which is why some things kind of fall to the back burner for very brief periods of time. I'm sure you guys are probably very familiar with the NFT DApp is coming soon. Good news, it's going to be part of our DApp process. But bad news is we have some other things we need to have implemented first. So it's a process and a procedure that's kind of going on within this setup here. So we have to kind of allocate the proper man hours to things that are important at a given point in time. And unfortunately, at this point in time, we don't have enough funds for it to be worthwhile for us to do this every single week. And we don't have enough man hours for us to be able to do this every single week. And I don't mean that as in like, oh, this is going to take us like 30 hours to do. That's not the case. It's just we have a lot of other things that we need to get out the door prior to adjusting to that. We want to make sure that the 4-token automated airdrops work properly. And then from there, we're going to be launching both 1 and 3 vaults the following week after that. And we want to make sure that those are going through and having no issue as well. Automated airdrops for those also. It's going to be a whole process. But once all of that is implemented, we'll look at some of the other things. But what I did say, and what I kind of use as an example, is once we get to a point in time where we're making enough where it's worthwhile for us to do an airdrop every single week or every other week or even every day, we can absolutely do so. The example I kind of use is if we have like 3 million in assets that are farming, and we do 5% month over month, that means we're doing roughly about $150,000 on the month. Of that 150,000, 60% would go to holders. The other 60% would go to, 40% would go to holders. 40% would go to reinvest, and the other breakdowns associated with that. But basically, that comes out to 60K. I don't see any reason why we'd need to hold all of that for 4 weeks to get that out the door. We could break that 60K up into 4 payments of 15K if we've earned that amount every single week. So we can totally do that. And again, I use 3 million as an example there. This could be a situation where at 100,000, we go that route, and that's totally fine. So yeah, it's just kind of like when we get to a point where there is enough consistency what's going on, there's enough revenue that's coming in for us to be able to kind of do this. It's a little bit too early for me to be able to just be like, hey, here's the date that we're going to do this. We have way too much in the pipeline.
Right.
So yeah, I would say most likely the earliest we would consider that would be after Ray Swap is out. And I don't even know what our funds would be, what the Ray fund would be looking like at that point in time. But that would be the earliest we'd potentially consider adjusting the time frame. And again, the positive with it is it's not baked into our contract, so we can adjust that as need be. So like if next week we just decided to do a payout, we could do it. That just as an example, I'm not saying we're doing that, but we could absolutely do payouts as often or as infrequent as we want. Again, our goal is to do a payout every single month, and that's what we're planning on doing. But if we go to doing it every other week, that would be fine. And if we realize that, it'd be better for us to compound a little bit more and do this a little bit more, we can just adjust back to doing it every single month. There's nothing that says like, oh, we have to do this or we have to do that. We just basically throw things into the payout contract and then click a button and it just does it. So
cool. Yeah.
Yep. That can be done effectively anytime. So
all right.
Hopefully that kind of answers that question. I know we kind of went over it in our Discord, but it was a very good question. And I'm glad you brought it back up because I totally forgot about it.
No problemo. Legends has another question. We need a good plan to bring 10,000 holders. How are we going to do it?
So it's going to be a little bit of a process. What I will say is this. The good news is our project is built for scale. So it's a situation where moving from the amount of holders that we have now up to 10,000 is not an impossible task. A lot of other projects generally face issues as they start to get into the 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, so on and so forth. Costs have a tendency to kind of go up. We don't face that over here. So it's very much so a case where scaling up isn't going to be an issue. What we are planning to do here first is we want to get our house totally in order. We want to get everything up and running. We want to get our DApp good to go. We want to get the integrations good to go with our vaults. We want to make sure that we don't have any issues with our process. Then we're planning on being listed on multiple websites that track decentralized applications and things like that. We have a couple of other communications that we're working with a few people within the crypto space, but we want to get our DApp and everything good to go with our website first. They're very picky, very particular about what we're kind of looking to do, and for us, it's very much so a situation where we want to make sure that we've got everything organized and everything in order first before we start to kind of do that big push for getting, say 10,000 holders. It doesn't do us any good. It doesn't provide any benefits to us if we start marketing and heavily getting out there and trying to put our name out there and none of our stuff works. So,
Right.
yeah, that would be a massive detriment, because a lot of times what will happen is people will go to a website, they'll look at the website and be like, oh, well, this doesn't work and that doesn't work and this over here doesn't work either. There's no point in me even looking at this. I actually used to do that when I originally got into DeFi, and I was in a group of people that were doing like, I'm not going to call them audits, but we would basically just like review crypto projects together to decide what we were going to invest in. And that was one of the things that I was actually very, very good about doing mathematically. And I would go through like their website, their white paper, things like that as well too, to kind of find inconsistencies. Does stuff work? Does it not work? Does this actually link out to their white paper? When it doesn't, it's hilarious. So we want to make sure all of that is organized and in order. Once it is, that's when we're really going to try and hit the ground running with the marketing, because we're giving people a reason to use our ecosystem. It's all set up and good to go. And yeah, that is the long-term goal there.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. The Gibson, is there a typo on the community updates? It says starting 20,959, ending 15,983.
No. So that is accurate because we pulled $5,000 out to go to the LP farming. So that $5,000 is no longer in the bot at this point in time.
Did you say you were going to pull another 5,000 out to do another?
Yeah, that is the goal at a later point in time. We're doing it slowly, though. Again, we wanted to protect ourselves with the volatility that's happening in the market. So we only pulled out 5K, and that was the right call because it protected us, with this drop that we faced. But yeah.
All right. Race. Will you be able to do vaults that pay out in NFTs? That's one of those variations.
I'm confused by the question. Like, what NFTs?
I think he was making a joke. Because why would you want? I've already got enough NFTs.
I mean, I can understand.
They promised me $1,000, payout if I just go to this website. I've got like 100 of those, and I didn't buy any of them.
Here's what I'll say. Really quick. Theoretically, yes. Fundamentally, probably not in the way that you're expecting. So I'll throw this out here because I think it'll be interesting for you guys to kind of know some stuff. I personally have talked to the Greek about his Pyrogold NFTs, right? Because it was an interesting process and thing for me on this side over here. They cost $300 a pop. The logic and the idea behind it could be is, in theory, if we could set up a vault to basically accrue your USDT until it hits the necessary amount to be able to buy that NFT, it would then buy that NFT and deposit that NFT right into your wallet. So then you could literally just be good to go. Now, I don't know if we can do that, but it's something that we've considered, and it's something that I've talked to Greek about. So a little bit of like insight and knowledge there. but we don't have anything in place for it, and we don't know if that will even work. So we'd have to test it. We'd have to make sure it would all work correctly. Theoretically, yes. Fundamentally, for like, oh, you want to buy a Bored Ape? No, that would not work. But yeah, for something like that, or if we were to do like a Prisma One NFT BTC, yeah, theoretically we could do that as well.
It would just take a long time to. I mean, like for right now, it would take a while to build up the funds to that point.
Correct.
Later on,
yeah.
Later on.
But yeah, I mean, and that's what I will say is that's kind of one of the positives that we have within what we're doing is that our system is very flexible at its most basic level, and that allows us to provide exponentially more benefits than most other projects can do just straight out the gate. And that was part of the reason why we went with the setup that we did here. It's very complex, and God bless Callie for the amount of time that he's been working on it. It's over 2 years to get us launched like a week and a half ago. God bless that man for everything that he did.
Yeah.
And that's not even including the amount of time that we spent planning this out before even beginning to code or do anything like that. So
yeah.
There's a lot of flexibility and functionality. I'm not going to say no, we will never have any kind of like NFT functions. But yeah, that is something that me and Greek, who, we talk about, that stuff a lot. And, I talked to him about Pyro and how it's doing and all things, associated to him, how he's doing everything like that. And he talks to me about like RayFi and everything that's going on. But yeah, we've had that conversation. We've crossed that path. It's something I'd love to explore because again, it's not just an NFT that does nothing. Because you guys know me, I hate NFTs that are just an image that you can copy paste. They've got to have a point, got to serve a purpose. So yeah, that's something I would love to consider doing in the future. I don't know if it'll happen, but yeah, hopefully maybe someday.
Cool. Then Gibson has another question. Did the fund increase with the launch and everyone buying RayFi?
So we haven't liquidated any of our fees yet. We didn't want to, I guess the best way to word this is we didn't want to dump when we knew people were going to, dump is not the right word. We didn't want to liquidate the fees when we knew people were going to liquidate the tokens that they received on launch. So when we relaunched RayFi, we knew going into it that there were going to be people that got their RayFi tokens that were just going to want to get out of the project and be done with it. So we didn't want to liquidate any of the fees that we received in that process. And at that time, we wanted the market to dictate how the project was going to go, what the price was going to be and everything like that. Because the biggest fear that we had is that we would, well, actually, we did way better than I expected. I'll just say that straight out the gate. I wasn't thinking we were even going to break a penny, and we got up to 4.5 cents, which blew me away. But we didn't want to just liquidate the fees that we had received at that point in time. Because what would have happened there is a lot of people would have looked at that as like, oh, the project waited for everyone to buy in, then liquidated. And that's not something we wanted to have be the case there. We wanted to ensure that those that participated within Prisma unfortunately had to experience the exploit. And then from there, were in here with us for RayFi, waited 13 months for us to get back out the door. We wanted them first chance at the gate. So we basically just said, all right, we're not doing anything with the fees that we've picked up. We're holding them for right now. Nothing's going to happen to them at this point in time. But yeah, at some point in time, those will be liquidated and, added to the Ray Fund. But we wanted everyone in the market to have, like their fair shake at everything first. We didn't want to be the ones, dictating what happened. So yeah, that's why we didn't sell anything. That's why we haven't, further increased the fund. Just as like a heads up to everyone, we wanted to make sure that you guys as holders had the opportunity to sell if you wanted to. So, yep.
Then Chappie asked a question about Pyro, which Sky Dreams.
Oh yeah, Pyro's
answered.
doing good. I would absolutely say go check him out and talk to Greek about it. He's a great dude. He'll talk your ear off about it. Me and him have like hour-long conversations just about every other day. So yeah, he's a great guy, great project. I would definitely recommend looking into it, especially if you're looking for a different side of bot trading. I believe they're just trading gold at this point in time. I don't believe they're trading any other commodities. But yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool
we don't see anymore because they have you have to have an NFT to see their channel.
I know. How dare they?
Huh?
I said I know. How dare they? I don't have one, so
yeah, I don't either. I'm glad to hear an update from you that they're doing.
I'm gonna have to beg Greek to give me the status so I can go there and check stuff out.
Yeah. Oh, Skydream says no, they are trading currency. See, we didn't know. We don't know anything.
I thought they were trading gold. My bad on that one. Yeah. So, I believe they're trading on Forex or something like that. So that would make sense. Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool. Yep.
All right. We've gone for quite a while today.
Yeah. Well,
did you want to hit anything else?
Skydreams. Oh, Skydreams was just responding to Chappie. Okay. Who can't wait for the payout to come December 25th, January 20. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so to clarify that, it will be in January of 2026. Will not be in December of 2025. Yeah, just it's the holiday season, and I don't want anybody to have to deal with the holiday season and like running back to try and like Prisma NFT or anything like that. So yeah, we'll deal with that at the beginning of January. Sky Dreams, thank you. Volatile market right now. May need time. Yep, I agree. Payouts of NFT percentages of volume. Yes, so do it have to get? Yeah. So I think that pretty much covers everything here. Like I said, DApp will likely be out. Whatchamacallit, tomorrow. Early morning is when we're going to do our final like mainnet testing, and then we'll make it public for everybody.
Very exciting.
And from there, it'll be a situation where everybody can start staking. Again, as a reminder, we're having some issues with Wallet Connect V1. So if you get an error message saying you can't connect or doesn't have the ability to connect with this version of Wallet Connect, you'll just need to go to the desktop version and use like MetaMask or something. Not a big deal.
I answered this. I don't know why I put that.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. We were kicking butt, taking names, and I see some people have already bought some extra tickets for themselves by buying some more RayFi. So win-win for everyone involved.
All right, awesome.
Yes,
very cool. All right, well, thank you everybody for being here.
Oh, before we go, Oliver, I don't know if you want to just go over one more time the contest that you guys are running over there, just so everybody knows, just in case.
Yeah, sure. I think it's going for like another few days or so, but it's a buy competition, and it is for buying 1 token, 3 token, 4 token, or RayFi token, and every $25 buy of any of those 4 tokens or any combination of them is an entry into this buy competition. Lucky will go through a Dex Screener and look at all the buys over the past, past 4 days, and then into the next 3 days. And he'll look up and he'll add up all the entries, and then he will send out one of 3 prizes to the 3 wallets that he picks. The first prize is going to be 5,000 4 tokens. Second prize is going to be 3,000 4 tokens, and third prize is going to be 2,000 4 tokens. So the way to be entered into that is just buy $25 worth of 1, 3, 4, or RayFi, and you can put in as many entries as you want. Every $25 buy is an entry. So,
Legends asked a question at the end here that I'm trying to figure out. 1, 2, 3, 4 RayFi. Have you ever thought to merge all the LPs into RayFi? I wonder if he's talking about like Ray Swap at some point in time.
Don't know.
I'd need a little bit more of a clarification of like what you're asking there. I don't know.
Maybe you guys can discuss that in Discord because
Yeah, I think we've gone on long enough. Ask me Discord legends, and I'll talk to you about it, bud. I'm not. I don't understand the question. I'm sorry, but yeah, let's go.
Okay, I don't. And Barry's asking about NFTs now. What is this? NFTs would have utility or rewards? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
You can look in Discord or ping Vader, and he'll tell you. I forget. He's selling them at a pretty good price.
Yeah, I think they're up on Tofu NFT as well. So like you can just check on there. You should be able to find the ones that he put up. Like I said, or like Oliver just said, I think he's selling them for a pretty good price. So they should be easy to find. So
okay, all right, we're gonna end this now because we've been going for an hour and 20. So thank you everyone for being here, and Moon God, appreciate you spending time with us and answering questions.
Anytime, man. Have a great day, guys.
All right, see ya.